Hey everyone. If you saw my last video, I alluded to how I was going to maybe potentially show a demo, as you will, of how to create a weightlifting program using generative AI. For this instance, I'm going to use ChatGPT. You can use it with the free version. You could use it with a paid version too. You can do it right off of here. You could create a chatbot. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to show you generally the steps as to how to do it. And I'm actually going to create, now that I have my updated numbers, I'm going to create mine that I'm going to do over the next 10, 12 weeks or whatever live. So I got my tea right here. So I might be sipping that intermittently, but we're going to get started. So with programs like ChatGPT, your prompt being as specific as possible and telling it really exactly what you want is going to yield the best results. You know, that might sound like common sense to a point, right? But AI is pulling from millions and trillions of different pieces on the internet, right? And if we tell it exactly what we want, like for example, for this, I want this program, like I could just say, make me a 10-week weightlifting program. But that's not going to be specific to the needs of me and my weaknesses and my strengths and my numbers and stuff like that, right? So our prompt is going to be important, especially you'll see it'll unfold. But the more you give it to start, the better it's going to be. So it's going to be something like this. And I try to be nice to it a little bit, but actually, if you use please and thank you, there's evidence that shows it uses more data and energy and stuff. So I still do though, because it makes me nervous. So, hello, I am looking to create a personalized, let's say, Olympic weightlifting program for myself. And I know what kind of question it's gonna ask me, like my demographics and my best lifts and how often I want to train. So I'm going to include some of that stuff right away. But you'll see it's going to ask me what it's looking for based on the fact of I'm looking for a personalized Olympic weightlifting program. I am looking to do a program that leads to a mock meet. Ideally, this program will run over 10 to 12 weeks. My metrics are as I am 5'8". I don't exactly know how much I weigh. I think it's something like this. Old. I have So I'm also going to include like where I lift and what equipment I have access to, because then it's going to, once we get to the point where it spits out like an example week, it's not going to put on lifts that I don't have access to. Like for example, in the winter, I have a home gym, but I have to move all my stuff in from outside because I live in a very cold state in the winter. And I won't have access to like my jerk blocks, for example, or a consistently good platform. So I'll be doing a lot of my lifts at the gym where they don't have jerk blocks either. So I'm going to make sure I tell it that I have access to a home gym, which includes a form, good to high-end weightlifting equipment, barbell and training. Not that this really matters. Plates, squat stands, jerk blocks, Roman chair, dip bars, Pulley system. Singular. I also have access to a community center gym, platforms, bumper plates, barbells, and other commonly used. So I'm going to start there and just see what it tells me. So here, it's gonna rough based on what it's told me, which I think I can already think of things that I want to add, like my immediate previous training regimen, my max lifts, which it might ask me about here in a little bit. But in general, this is going to tell me probably what you would find in pretty much any weightlifting program. Like you're going to do accumulation, then it's going to get more intense, and then you're going to peak for that meet doing heavy singles, heavy attempts, whatever later on. So here it's going to give me a rough focus of what a 5-day split would look like for me. Now this actually remembers some stuff that I told it prior when I tested this. So I told it that some of my personal weaknesses were on any type of a jerk. My right arm internally rotates and is a soft lockout every time. And I told them that some of my mobility limitations, including hip and internal rotation, are rough. Right. I told it that I want to not max out, but do heavy enough singles frequent enough to where when I get to those later on parts of the program, I'm not going to be scared or not confident to attempt heavy singles, even if I have the capacity to do so. And I also told it that I'm not really a big fan of like a traditional deload week, that I'd rather have it be accurately programmed to a point where that's going to help me with recovery. I'm going to tell it what my current maxes are because I just updated them. And then I'm going to ask it for a 5-day plan, and I'm also going to ask it for a 4-day plan to see the differences. And the nice thing about where generative AI is at this point is that it's going to spit you out a pretty good plan based on what you have and what you like to do and what your weaknesses are, right? But you can also ask it like, hey, why did you schedule this for this day and not pulls on this other day, or whatever the case is, right? And it usually gives you a pretty good explanation. Now it's not always right, but essentially it'll give you a pretty good. Now the main reason why I'm doing this is because I don't have access to a coach, so I want something that's personalized to me. I could write up a program myself. I've done it the last couple cycles of programs that I've done, and they're fine, right? But this is probably gonna be smarter than I am because I'm not a USA WL or whatever coach, nor am I probably going to be. So this is where it's going to help me out. So let's say I want to update my current max numbers on the lifts I just tested them this week. Let's see what it tells me. So conveniently, these are all the things that I did this week for my testing, because I kind of talked to it before, like I said. So I'm just going to go down the line. And jerk. Now some of these I am undershooting a bit because I haven't done them potentially in a while or whatever, or that's just where I'm at. So, oops. Push press was like 95, and deadlift. I did like, let's say 185. All right, before I finalize, um, yeah. So I'm gonna ask it to tell me, like I said, it's gonna do the 5-day and the 4-day, just so we can compare them to see what it looks like. I would like to see a 5-day first, but would also like to see. All right. So this is gonna give me. I think if I asked it for like week by week, it would be a little bit more specific. Now, I like the idea of where it's at for these. Now, personally, I probably would snatch before I did a snatch pull, um, and stuff like that. But I think what I'll do is also ask it to not go above 5 lifts per exercise or per day, because I just don't have 2 hours to be in the gym. I would like to keep the exercises per day and keep my time committed. Now, and then some of these are a little repetitive in my opinion too. So I would probably talk to it to be like, hey, why on Sundays? Let's just ask it. Why on Sundays are there full snatches program as well as hang snatches? Maybe that's normal. I don't know. I'm not a coach, so I want to make sure. So this is what's nice about this is that it's going to give me a pretty in-depth rationale as to why. Now this is plenty of a rationale, honestly. So if I agreed with this and it matched up with what I need or what I know has worked for me in the past, I would do it. But I'm also interested to see what the 4-day week looks like. Can you show me what the program for? So honestly, this is something that I might consider just to get a little bit more, knowing that my work schedule personally is going to be a little all over to start the fall semester. I might do something like this so that I can not only get better recovery, but I might have to miss 2 days in a row, and that probably wouldn't be feasible with a 5-day per week program. So this looks pretty good. I'd have to go through here and look at this, right? But based on the things that I told it already, my weaknesses, my percentages, and you could go even a step further and say, okay, yeah, this looks good, but something that I would like to see is I don't want to have to, and this is just like an easy step or whatever, but make sure you tell me what the range for weights are, in parentheses by the percentages, kind of like what we got here. Or like here, right? Because then you can put this into a spreadsheet, which this will generate for you, and have all that stuff exactly what you want, color coded, dated, different specific tabs per microcycle or whatever, right? So it's pretty nice, honestly. And some of this stuff is what I would probably do already, right? But it probably includes some stuff that I wouldn't have thought of. Like don't think I've ever done a front rack step up. And if I asked it why that's the case, it would probably give me a pretty good reason, because it's addressing some of my personal weaknesses that I told it about. So this is a pretty good, if you can't afford a coach, or you don't have access to one, or you just want to try it out, making sure that your prompts are specific, and that again, it sounds kind of redundant, but telling it exactly what you want, because it's going to give you exactly what you want. You might just have to ask for rationale or why this is the case, or tinker with it a little bit to make sure it fits your personal goals and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you wanted to give it a try, go ahead. Good luck. Thanks.